Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And our first story. How many times do I have to tell you this, lady? This all happened a few months ago. So here's some backstory. I'm a rather large person, both in height and weight, 6'7", 240 pounds. I had a large amount of facial hair for only being 16, so it's pretty common for me to be mistaken for an adult. I was out at the local mall by myself because my parents weren't home for the day, and my mother gave me a shopping list for what we needed for the week. The mall that I was in was having a casual Friday, so most of the employees were wearing normal clothes. The only thing distinguishing them from customers were the name tags. I was in the produce section of the store when this story properly begins. So I was buying fruit for my younger sister, who was still in school at the time, and some other things for the week when I noticed a mother with her daughter shopping just down the aisle from me. The mother, who we will call Typical Karen, TK, had the "I demand to speak with your manager" and "my child deserves" insert entitled parent phrase, looks, haircut, all the other stuff of a Karen. She looks over and starts walking towards me as I'm finding what fruit's on the list. That's when the IDWHL starts to play out. "Excuse me, but do you know where the dairy aisle is?" "No, I don't," I reply, being polite because there's no reason to be rude. "How do you not know where it is? You work here," TK says, now getting loud and irritated. "Well, that's the thing. I don't work here, lady. Now, if you can excuse me, I need to find the breakfast aisle." I walked away when suddenly she reaches out and grabs my arm, digging her nails into my wrist. "How dare you walk away from me? I'll have you fired for ignoring me," TK screeches, starting to draw attention. As I look over, I can see that her daughter is clearly as embarrassed as I was. "Listen, ma'am, I do not work here. Now leave me alone." I was starting to get annoyed with her and grabbed her arm and removed it from my wrist, nails having drawn blood at this point and a large red mark surrounding my entire wrist. Wrong choice. Without warning, she slaps me across the face, knocked me off balance, but I did manage to keep myself from falling over. "How dare you assault me? I will have you arrested for assaulting a customer, and I will have you fired, as a matter of fact. I want to speak to your manager." There's the typical Karen phrase. By this point, a manager had seen her smack me and rushed over. We'll call the manager Kyle, not his real name. "Why did you just slap him, ma'am?" asked Kyle with clear concern. "You need to train your employees better. He ignored me, and when I asked him again, he hit me in the face," she shouted, avoiding Kyle's question altogether. "He doesn't work here. He's just a customer," Kyle explained. By this point, 2 officers had come in and seen TK slap me. They immediately rushed over and restrained her, all while shouting that I tried to rape her. After she'd been taken away, one of the officers had gone over to me and asked for my side of the story, showing them the nail marks in my wrist and the handprint on my face, and after checking the camera, my story appeared to be truthful. This concludes the story. They asked if I wanted to press charges for assault, and me being highly petty, I said, yeah. TK wants to take me to court, but my father's having to deal with this because you can't sue a minor, and the court date's coming up soon. Once the ruling's finished, I'll make an update explaining the situation, and I'll catch y'all then. And our next story. No, Karen, speaking the language makes me neither an employee nor a Nazi. So this happened last summerish when I was traveling to visit a friend at their college about 8 hours from mine. I was driving because, well, why the hell not? I decided I was hungry and pulled over in a small town in the northeast U.S., talking upstate New York, Vermont, Connecticut, that area. After a short yelping, I found a great little German deli. I have a lovely meal there and end up talking to the owner for a bit. I almost never have the opportunity to practice my German, so I jumped at the chance to convert with the sweetest old Baden-Württembergish lady you'll ever meet. For reference, Baden-Württemberg is a state in the southwest of Germany. I learned a lot about her and her emigrating to the United States, the town, its history as a hotspot of German immigration, important later, etc. After an hour or so, I had to get back on the road, so I paid, stood up, and started to walk back outside. I made it halfway to the exit when I feel a tap on my shoulder. Say it with me. Me is for me. K is for Karen. O is for owner. Good job. Proud of you. K. In a thick accent, I don't know, Alabama, Mississippi maybe? "Oh, thank Lord you're off break. We're ready to order." Me. Still thinking in German. "Was? K. In the voice you make with a child when they don't get something, I am ready to order. Me. Recovering. Oh, sorry, I'm just passing through. K. What, you were just talking to the owner? Of course you work here. Are you trying to ignore your job? Me. Karen, cutting me off. Come take our order this instant, and I'll think about paying after this terrible service. She'd been there for 5 minutes at lunch rush hour. Me. Listen, ma'am, I just stopped for a sandwich. Please leave me alone. Here she was getting frustrated with me and dropped one of those lines I'll remember all my days. I saw you talking with the owner. You obviously know each other. If you don't work here, why were you two talking Nazi to each other? Silence. Every head swiveled. Remember when I mentioned the German immigration to the town? Yeah. Me. Quietly. What did you just say? You two are obviously Nazis. You're speaking the language. The owner slowly gets up. Miss, you will not be welcome here anymore. Please leave. Karen was taken aback. What? You heard me. My father smuggled Jewish children to safety in Switzerland. How dare you accuse me of being a Nazi? How dare you accost this young man, pointing at me, in my establishment? You are being refused service. Leave, now! The room is still silent as the lady huffs, grabs her and her poor husband and child, and drags them out of there, shouting almost incoherently about getting us all shut down for being un-American, whatever that means. The tension in the room held for about a minute, then slowly eased, but never disappeared. The owner apologized profusely to me as I left and offered me a coupon for the trouble. I took the coupon from her, thanked her profusely, apologized myself for her having to go through that, and left. I haven't been back since, but I still have that coupon, so maybe I'll make the drive out someday. And our next story. Sir, he's 12. So I've been lurking for a little bit and decided to share an I Don't Work Here story that isn't totally my own, but I hope it still belongs here. See, at the time I was working for Target in the electronics section, suckering people into buying cell phones. Our specific uniform was khaki pants and a black shirt instead of red, with a massive Target logo on the back and tech right beside it, along with a name badge. Pretty obviously an actual I work here look. Well, I was helping a family shop for some new phones. They were all wearing heavy winter coats thanks to the cold weather outside, and they were all rather short. By some twisted miracle, I managed to be the tallest person present, making it even more strange that I wasn't noticed first. "Excuse me!" I hear a loud voice from behind me. Quick as I can, I put on my retail face, ready to tell the man behind me that I can help him after I finish with my current customers. Except he marches right past me, instead zeroing in on the shortest member of the family group. The kid couldn't have been over 12. He looked visibly concerned because a massive adult, this guy had to be 6'4", with a still bleeding head wound, was seemingly trying to corner him, becoming louder and more irate with each passing moment. "Excuse me, I know you can hear me. Where are the radios?" Followed by some choice comments on the young boy's race. All the while, I'm in the background trying to get this guy's attention as the actual person who worked there. At this point, the poor kid looked like he's about to cry, and I say, F it, and do a big retail no-no. I touch the man. Just a gentle tug on his arm so that he lets this kid away from the display he'd been backing him into. He snatches his arm back and reels around to stare at me with my badge and shirt and effing khakis, and instead of realizing his mistake, he doubled down. Started going off about how this slur won't show me where the effing radios are, and I know you have them, and how we should fire the literal child who clearly did not work here. By this time, the family closed back in around their child, and I was stuck with a very irate, very inebriated man. Honestly, I'm kind of scared of him on account of being 5'2" and having all the fighting prowess of a kitten, but the idea of leaving him with the family to yell slurs at while I called security sat with me even worse. So I took the bullet. "I'm so sorry, the radios are right this way." I said it in my sweetest, most bootlicking voice possible. Now, I want to say I proudly led him right down to security and stood strong while everyone in Target cheered. But I'm a huge coward, so it was more like I power walked him to the radios while he shouted sexual harassment at me from behind. "You got a nice butt. You got a boyfriend? Hey, I asked if you got a boyfriend." I could F you real good. I managed to get him to the radios, pointed at them, then ran away before he could yell at me for my number one more time. My manager catches me running and offers to call security while she points me off to one of the back stock rooms to hide in. Apparently, he was escorted out of the store shortly thereafter. I didn't get to see the family leave. They didn't buy a new phone after all. I wasn't really great at that job, but they did stop by my manager to make sure that I was okay. As much as it sucked to not get a sale, I was honestly just happy that the kid was all right. Like I said, I was really bad at that job. And our next story. Customer says she's owner's wife and gets a discount. From 1993 to 2008, my husband and I owned a hobby shop outside Atlanta, Georgia. I had a full-time job with Ma Bell, aka Hell South, and Hubs ran the shop. After 9/11, he was called up for active duty, he was a reservist, and I'd been laid off, so I would work in the shop until I had to pick our kids up from school. One morning, a woman comes in and is looking at various Games Workshop figures and box sets. These are not cheap by any means, and retailers didn't get the normal markdown from the manufacturer, so they were rarely discounted. She approaches the counter to check out, and as I'm ringing her up, she rather rudely tells me that she gets a 50% discount as she's the owner's wife. Me. Really? How long you been married? Lying customer. Oh, a few months. We recently got married. Me. Really? Well, damn. It's nice to meet you, since I'm his wife and the one he F's at night and not you. You still want this figure pack or not? 'Cause you're not getting a discount. Lying customer stood there like a fish out of water, the way her mouth was opening and closing. I set the figure pack under the counter and told her to get out of my shop and never come back. After she left, I called my Hubs to tell him about it, and he was like, just damn, what the hell? Yeah, some people will try anything to get something for nothing. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.